Hey everyone, welcome back. It's time for episode 23 of the Horns Up Podcast, your weekly catch-up on all things metal. I am your host, Dan Kaplan, coming to you as always from Brooklyn, New York. With me from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, he is the Black Wizards, my good friend Corey Butterworth. Corey, how's it going?
I'm actually coming from somewhere real. I'm doing fantastic, actually. Thank you very much.
We're mixing it up a bit.
I know, right?
These audience folk don't know what to expect anymore.
Reality! Yeah.
Oh man. So what's going on? How's last week been for you?
No, it's life. It's full of metal music and mountains and woods and work and more work and
It's lifeical.
it's lifeical. It's life. God, Jesus.
Nice.
You know,
Nice.
Necrophagus should be a thing again. I don't know why I thought of that today, but I miss them. You ever listen to
I think
Necrophagus?
you'd be hard pressed to. I think you'd be hard pressed to find people who disagree with that statement.
Yeah, I don't know why they popped into my head today, but I was like, they were a good band. Why aren't they a thing?
Yeah, they were fun.
Yeah.
They were fun.
Oh well.
Well, c'est la vie.
Exactly.
We've got a good show to get into, so let's not waste any time. Jump right into some headlines right here. Starting off, we'll kick off with some unfortunate news from the AC/DC camp. Now, obviously, we told you last week about the announcement for the band's upcoming album, Rock or Bust. But unfortunately, we now have some sadder news from the AC/DC camp. After months of keeping mum on exactly what has been afflicting former founding rhythm guitarist Malcolm Young, the Young family confirmed today, Wednesday, that he is suffering from dementia and has been checked into a nursing home in Sydney that specializes in treating patients with the disease. Obviously, this is very, very sad news. I don't know if this was following from a stroke, as had long been rumored, or if he just sort of started to develop it on his own. But either way, I mean, you really hate to hear something like this.
Yeah, you do. I mean, I haven't heard any ties back to the stroke yet at all. That more information may surface in the days and weeks to come. This was a rumor I heard, honestly, last week that, dementia, it was a term thrown in the air. I'm not sure if you actually saw the statement from his family recently, but it was more or less can you leave us alone type of thing. From the family basically just said Malcolm is suffering from dementia and the family thanks you for respecting their privacy, which totally justified, totally legitimate. It just sucks, man. It's sad because, again, he was such a huge part of that band's heyday and, why they're still so popular as they are now. So, yeah.
You won't, for my money, you won't find a more important rhythm guitar player, a better rhythm guitar player in all of hard rock or metal. He was crucial to AC/DC. He helped write all the songs. I mean, you name it. I mean, he was as vital, if not more so, than Angus.
Yeah.
And it sucks to see him going through this disease. I mean, it's obviously it's a very debilitating thing. You'll see people with dementia, and it can be someone that you've known your whole life. But if they have the disease, then they'll forget who you are. You can enter a room and talk to them for 5 minutes, and then come back 5 minutes later, and they'll have completely forgotten you.
Yep.
I mean, it says it all that even a smart ass like Axl Rosenberg over at Metal Sucks. I mean, and I love Axl, but he's a smart ass. Even Axl didn't have a joke to crack here. It was just sad news all around. You really hope the best for the band, for the family, and obviously for Malcolm. So,
yep.
So pour one out for AC/DC, pour one out for Malcolm Young. But anyway, moving on. Our next story, we have news from Slipknot. I mean, Stone Sour. I mean, Corey Taylor. I mean, all of the above. Some entity containing Corey Taylor sucks at firing people. I don't mean to throw this solely on Corey's shoulders, but one of these things really sucks at firing people. We had news late last week from Slipknot guitarist Jim Root, came out with claims that his other band, Stone Sour, of which frontman Corey Taylor is also a member, fired him over the phone a few months ago.
Yep.
You wonder how conversations are going between them now, how those Slipknot recording sessions must have gone over the last couple of months. Now, Jim did say at the same time, quote, "It's probably all for the better because I wasn't really happy in that band anymore." He had previously discussed issues with Stone Sour's touring schedule, how it used to interfere with Slipknot, but oh well.
Yeah, I mean that's great. I mean the firing maybe has been for the better. That's friggin' fantastic. I don't really give a shit about the actual firing itself. The thing I'm pulling away from this is that it was a firing over the phone with a guy he's already in another band with.
Yeah.
What?
You really had been in a band with for what?
Years.
15, 20 years?
Yeah. I don't care about the actual firing. Fine. People go their separate ways. It happens all the time, but it's like let's not just bypass what actually is kind of intriguing here. Just the whole fact that he's treating this like a relationship that went awry after 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's
like getting dumped via text. Have you
right.
I haven't had that happen. Have you had that happen?
No, because I date humans.
I think I have something worse than that. I was once dumped. The girl never actually told me she wanted to break up. She communicated it via a different method. And by a different method, I mean, she brought her best friend along on what was supposed to be a date between me and her. Previously unbeknownst to me, just brought the girl along to the movie, had me buy this girl a movie ticket, had me pay for this girl's dinner, and basically paid me no mind all night, just kind of hung out with her friend. Yeah. That was the end of that.
Oh, that's fantastic. Holy crap. Oh, that's
so,
great. That's a Ted Mosby story.
With that in mind,
that is.
I don't know what the hell Jim Root's complaining about. Screw you, Jim Root.
Right?
I think the equivalent of that would have been if like Stone Sour had just randomly invited another guitar player to band practice and not told Jim Root.
Just mixed all his parts down to zero.
Given the new guy Jim's parts. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh man.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Oh well.
Yeah. Now you actually showed me earlier today. Metal Sucks ran an amusing joke piece,
right.
kind of bouncing off this, about how apparently in another universe, Joey Jordison was then fired via singing telegram.
They just went from 0 to 60 with this, and I just love the fact that it did too.
Yeah. I mean, now. I didn't think the lyrics were all that hot, but I just think the idea behind that is totally hilarious.
Well, the lyrics aren't that hot at all, but I just imagined a guy singing a telegram to Joey Jordison as he's playing video games and dancing around and singing these lyrics, and to me that's amusing. That imagery is the best.
I think so. Is making fun of Slipknot ever going to get old? Serious question.
Oof, probably not. I mean, we say that, but who came and went for us pretty damn quickly, actually, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Amir is no longer really a discussion from a week-to-week basis, even though they probably could be. So who knows how long this will last? But right now, they are our punching bag, and it's great.
Yeah. And as much fun as we do make of them, I did still like All Hope Is Gone. So
yeah, overall, it was a good album. I mean, whatever.
I am just a walking contradiction right now.
No, you can like the music. You don't have to like the people behind the music, and that's kind of more where this category this falls in, because they're just being completely ridiculous over the last few months. But it doesn't mean that they haven't written good songs in the past. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
So
valid. Anyway, moving on. We have fun news from the recording industry at large. Popular porn website Pornhub has launched its own record label, Pornhub Records. The website is also running a contest for artists to write an official theme song for Pornhub, the website. The winner is going to get $5,000 and a guarantee of at least 500,000 views for their clip. Vice President Corey Price says that the band is looking for artists that, quote, have mature lyrics for an adult audience. No boy bands or teen pop, for instance. However, he also said that lyrics do not necessarily have to be porn-based. I mean, this is just amazing to me.
Oh, it's hilarious. I don't think it's going to work, but
this is our natural progression of the music industry. I think of that tweet that I retweeted after U2 dropped its Apple album, the evolution of the music industry. You pay, like, step one, you pay out the teeth for a record album. Step two, you download a record album for free. Step three, you buy single songs. Step four, okay, maybe you stream the album every once in a while. Step five, fuck you, you get a U2 album. And I think this is step six. Step six, your record label is a porno site. Like,
oh God.
Like, this is amazing. I mean, I just think back to, like, what was it, like episode 2 or something, when we were laughing about the porno grind subgenre earlier this year. This is the perfect outlet for porno grind.
Oh, who were those bands? I need to look them up immediately because I just found their perfect label mates. Where the shit are you? Porno grind.
I mean, there's something called cock and ball torture, I think.
That sounds right.
Yeah. What else do we have here?
Meat Shits, Cock and Ball Torture, Dead, Lividity, and Wacko Jesus. Just to name a few.
Oh man.
Holy
what
Christ.
a thing. Now, the site has already signed Coolio, the rapper who's famous for Gangsta's Paradise and exactly nothing else. He's already filmed a not safe for work video of a new single called, wait for it, Take It to the Hub, which, I shit you not, is an actual song name. I kind of want to watch this video.
Whatever. Sure.
I just want to see how bad it is.
Yeah, I'll watch it eventually just cause, but
yeah,
come on.
I just kind of want to see where this goes. This is absolutely hilarious to me. Props to Pornhub for doing whatever, not giving a damn.
Yeah, the not give a fuckery is highly commendable. I give them that, and I'm excited. I think this is just ridiculous enough to amuse me, and that's all I ever want in life. We'll see how it actually does, though. I'm curious.
Yeah, 500,000 views of a song. I mean, it's a shame views don't actually translate into money. It's like that South Park episode where you get 500 theoretical dollars. Your internet fame gets you a salary of theoretical dollars per year. I don't know, but we'll see what they can do with it. I mean, if they throw some ads behind it, if they get a plan going, it could go somewhere. So be following this one. At any rate. Moving on, finally, we wrap up headlines with news from Black Sabbath. The band looks like is going to be going into the studio early next year. We'll do one more album and a final tour. Despite what Tony Iommi said about the band having played its final show after last year's tour for 13, Ozzy has indicated that it's looking like they're going to be working with Rick Rubin for what you have to assume will be a final studio album and a final tour. Obviously, it's all going to come down to Tony's health, his schedule of treatments for lymphoma, which he's been fighting since 2012. So, we'll see what actually happens there. But, I certainly wouldn't be opposed to this.
I mean, sure. Why the hell not, I guess. New Black Sabbath is never, going to be opposed in my book. I mean, I'd like to see one more tour. I mean, I'd like to get a chance to actually see Black Sabbath one more time, before they hang it up for good. So I'm all for it. I just, the quality itself we'll wait and see, and the pace at which I can write this thing we'll wait and see. But I have no opposition. I don't know. Seems all fine by me.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm sort of more into it for the tour. I couldn't care less about another album. I thought, I thought 13 was fine. But it didn't really wow me. It sounded like Sabbath, I was like, okay, cool.
Right.
But yeah, I would really like to see them live. Cause I've never done, I missed any and every Ozfest in which they reunited and all that stuff. So,
because Ozfest is filled with, because Ozfest is friggin' terrible. Let's be real.
Correct.
Well, most of the bands are. But no, I'm right there with you. I mean, what caught my eye on this thing was not the new album information; it was the tour information. So that's what I'm excited about. It's just a matter of wait and see, I guess.
And interestingly enough, there's no mention of who is going to drum for them. I mean, obviously they had former Rage Against the Machine drummer Brad Wilk for 13.
Yeah.
Are they going to use him again? I mean, I doubt they're going back to Bill Ward. I feel like that ship has probably sailed for good.
I would agree.
Maybe Vinny Appice. I don't know. We'll see. But at any rate, keep an eye out for goings on in the Black Sabbath camp. We'll definitely keep you posted on that front. Now, moving on from headlines, I have for the second week in a row a concert to review.
Huzzah!
I can't believe it. It feels like spring again when I had
I
3
know.
concerts in the span of a week. But anyway, last Friday I went to see Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats at Bowery Ballroom here in New York. It was my first time at Bowery Ballroom. Somehow I'd never made my way over there before. Really liked the venue, and this was a kick-ass show. Really, really good set from both bands. They had an opening act called Danova, which is like a Portland-based kind of stonery sounding thing, but not like stoner doom. It was more like stoner hard rock.
Wait, a stonery sounding thing coming from Portland? You're
Shocking,
shitting me.
right? Shocking, I know. They had some really cool riffs, some really, really nice harmonized guitar moments. At times it kind of reminded me, like the harmony guitar kind of reminded me of Queen or Yes, or, like all those like classic like rock harmony guitar sounds.
Sure.
Unfortunately they were kind of poorly mixed. Half the time I couldn't really hear the singer because his guitar was mic'd up so high. But either way, it was a fun set. Really enjoyed them. Definitely going to check out their stuff, catch them again in the future. But then after that, we got Uncle Acid, who more or less brought it at the same level they did at MDF. But because this was their first full US tour, as opposed to a one-off appearance like MDF, people were going nuts.
Yeah.
In fact, I think this show confirmed for me that I really need to avoid getting near pits again. I know I sound old as hell saying that, but I was basically, so where I was situated, it was basically stage, then photographers, then me. Sure. I had my hands on one of the monitors. We were, like banging against the monitors and stuff like that. Could see the set list. It was, they luckily they didn't have much of a barrier. They didn't have a like a security presence like you would see at Webster or at Irving Plaza or something like that. But yeah, the pit was like right there, and it was, sweaty fat dudes being shoved into us. And it's like, like whatever, metal shows are metal shows. I'm not gonna say I didn't see that coming, but I'm just like, I really need to stand further back in the future. I got a mouthful of hair at one point, and it was just like,
See, it's comments like these that actually drove my my stage dive for this week, because there are those shows where, I could be at them by myself or with people, and I'm exactly in your boat. I'm just kind of like, yeah, I just want to watch this band and chill. And there's those shows where I'm just like all fired up. I'm all over the goddamn place. And I'm finding the ratio in recent years, and it could just honestly be because the number of shows I'm going to is far greater than it was 3 or 4 years ago. But I'm finding more of my shows, I'm playing that role. Like, I'm observing. I'm actually watching the set. I'm not participating in the activities within the music. I'm actually observing what they're playing. It could be
right.
Again,
like what
like
a concept. You're going to a concert to watch the show,
right? Not just have the show, or not just to have the sound above you while you're running against people and doing weird stuff.
I mean, if I really wanted to, I could run against people and shove people and bang my head on an open street. Like, who cares?
That should be a thing. Wasn't it once? I feel like that was a thing. I smell a side
It's
splitter.
like drive by hardcore dancing, drive by moshing.
That needs to be a side split in the future.
Could be.
Anywho, if I found that, with time, and I think, again, I attribute it mostly to the number of shows I go to. Shows are tiring, especially when you go to one every few weeks. I'm just not as amped up about them. I'm more there for the actual performance itself, not for the energy from the crowd and everything else. So, it's a combination of factors, but I'm going to try to pretend it's not age, at least for this episode, even though it probably is. Damn it. But,
that being said, I did meet a couple of cool people, some people who are going to MDF in May. So, prop the podcast, prop the website. So, always good to make some new friends at metal shows. And obviously the band set was fantastic. I mean, we got a full like hour plus from them. We got 13 candles. We got Over and Over Again, I'll Cut You Down, you name it. I mean, basically, anything and everything you would want to hear from the first couple of albums. Overall, really good show. Really, good use of $25 on my part. Don't regret it at all.
Right.
I gotta get back to Bowery Ballroom again soon. That was a really, really cool venue. So, that's my story, and I will stick with it. So, Uncle Acid, if they're coming to a town near you, go see them. Don't think twice. Actually, they're probably all sold out by now. So go check on that StubHub and then go see them. But anyway,
they did come here, and I did think twice, and I did not see them. So there's
mistakes.
Well, I was probably doing something. No, I probably wasn't.
Like the mountains or whatever.
It was a couple weeks ago, because I was actually, I know what it was. I was drunk at the bars the night after their set. It was a Saturday night, and the set was, I think it was a Friday night or something here, or Portland, Maine, or wherever this guy happened to see with the shirt goes. He's like, it was an Uncle Acid shirt, tour 2014. I was like, oh, hey, I almost went to that, but then I didn't. He's like, yeah, I got fucked up and stoned. I'm like, oh, that's good. I'm going to get a beer now. Bye. And that was the end of my adventure with that guy. He was all fucked up.
Cool story, Hansel.
Hansel. Yeah, I don't know. I thought about it, and then I didn't. Hansel.
Alrighty. Well, anyway, let's move on to some new releases, shall we? We got a couple of interesting ones, a couple not as interesting ones this week. Let's start with the not as interesting ones. We'll lead off with a band that I was kind of surprised to be covering here on Horns Up because of questionably metal. But we'll start off with the 8th studio album from Mr. Big. It's called ... The Stories We Could Tell. It's the pop metal supergroup's 8th studio album, second since their reunion back in 2009. Obviously, you know these guys. It's Paul Gilbert on guitar, Billy Sheehan on bass, Pat Torpey on drums, Eric Martin on vocals. You didn't listen to much of this thing, did you? I can tell by the look on your face.
I listened to like 2.5 songs. Like, yeah, they don't sound bad, so I can't hate on them for that. But they also don't sound like anything I want to listen to pretty much ever. And then I proceed to listen to something else. So I got through 2.5 songs, and it was mixed well.
That's like seeing a movie and saying, well, the costumes looked okay.
That's about how I felt about it. So I think you got through a little bit more than me, so I'll let you divulge.
Yeah, I made a little bit more of an effort to listen to it because I am a fan. I'm not ashamed. I am a fan of like old school Mr. Big, late 80s, early 90s, stuff like Addicted to That Rush. I mean, just classic shit. And this wasn't bad. It wasn't all that great, but it wasn't bad. I mean, you know, Paul Gilbert still sounds as good as ever on guitar. Billy Sheehan's bass was really mixed well. It really like thumped on through there. Eric Martin even sounded good on vocals despite being 54 years old and obviously singing in a lower register than he did as a 30-year-old. But compositionally, like, you know, these just sort of feel like old school Mr. Big retreads, you know, like it was like, why listen to this stuff when I could go back and listen to Addicted to That Rush or listen to Big Love or Take a Walk, you know? I will say there was a song in the early part of the album called I Forget to Breathe, which I really liked. I have the chorus stuck in my head. pretty much all through the last day and a half since I started listening to this thing. And then there's a song later on in the album called "The Monster in Me," which has a decently cool riff, but then opens with the lyric, quote, "There's never been a midnight when I don't Jones for you," which I think is probably the first time I've ever heard the phrase jonesing used in a song. Jones used as a verb.
Oh God.
I don't know. I don't know why in 2014, 25 years after their first album, this Mr. Big is still putting out 14 song albums. Albums in general. Why not just stick to playing live? I mean, there's a bonus track on here, a live version of Addicted to That Rush that shows they've clearly still got it in concert. So why not just be a touring band? Just tour every couple of years. Come on. We don't need new studio stuff.
Yeah, that
It's not taking the band in. It's not moving the band forward. The band doesn't need to move forward.
I would agree with that. Let's have them do that. That sounds like a great idea.
So anyway, Mr. Big, again, the album is The Stories We Could Tell. Check out I Forget to Breathe. Maybe not much else. It's out now on Frontiers Records.
Hey, even I listened to that one.
It's a good one, right?
It's the second one, second song on the album, right? Second song?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
It was mixed well.
It's catchy. All right. That's going to be our go-to whenever we don't have anything nice to say about an album. We'll just say, well, it was mixed well.
I came up with a thing. It's a great day, everyone.
Oh, boy.
All right, I need a second. Ugh. All right, I'm good. I'm good.
Alrighty. Well, moving on. Next up, let's talk about Electric Wizard. Let's talk about their 8th album, Time to Die. Again, Electric Wizard, obviously from Dorset, UK. Doomsters, kind of really dark doomy shit. That's their first album in 4 years, and it comes after a bit of lineup shuffling. They're on their third bassist in that 4-year span, and brought back original drummer Mark Greening to record the album, only to replace him with another former drummer. So yeah, what'd you think of this thing?
I actually, I'm going to say I got all of it, but I'm going to use that statement loosely, because by getting through all of it, I mean it was playing while I was around where it was playing. And then music stopped.
You could hear it, but you weren't really listening to it.
Right, but then the music stopped, so I figured I got through the whole album. I don't know. I mean, I do like me some doom metal, but this just sounded kind of like a less interesting... Again, my most recent, doom metal album that I've listened to, I guess, in this kind of ballpark, and I mean, you can, obviously agree with me here, was Pallbearer, and that album was 100-fold what this album is. I didn't think it was all that bad, but it was long. It was long. It was an hour and 5 minutes, and it just seemed like it lasted forever.
Well, that's just it. It was long, and it felt long. I mean, you have to expect long songs because it's doom metal. Right. Pallbearer, as you mentioned, did long songs, but they did it very well, and they just flowed effortlessly. And Pallbearer could make a 10-minute song just fly by. They made 3 or 4 10-minute songs just fly by on Foundations of Burden. Whereas Electric Wizard, it just felt like very tedious. It felt like a chore.
Right.
I could really appreciate the just profound darkness and heaviness of things here, but it didn't do enough with that darkness and heaviness for me. Yeah. I thought there were some highlights. I liked I Am Nothing, for example, but I really I didn't even finish this thing, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I got about 5.5 songs in, and I was just like, okay, I want to listen to Foundations of Burden again. Let's do that.
Right. This yeah, seriously. This is one of those albums, or one of those bands, I guess, really as a whole. I've never really been crazy about Electric Wizard. I like them, but they've never really done a ton for me. Where I can listen to maybe 3 or 4 songs and have it eat up like 20 to 30 minutes, and then I'm done with them for like a month. you know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how this worked. I listened to the first 3 songs, and I actually really liked the first 3 tracks. I liked Incense for the Damned. I liked Time to Die. Time to Die just it felt like I was in like a slasher flick, which is I liked like you said, I like that dark, really somber, just evil feel to these songs. I Am Nothing is obviously a good one, and that is 11.5 minutes, but shockingly doesn't seem quite that long. But then again, it's just kind of like a little bit of this stuff just goes so far with me where I just don't need more than 20, 25 minutes of it. I don't.
Yeah.
And I mean, God, those first 3 songs are almost half an hour,
Yeah. I'll have to get my buddy Sean on here sometime, or maybe I'll record a segment with him on the side and play it back next week. Cause he was going nuts for this album. He was
really?
like, oh my God. I kept trying to be like, no, but pallbearer, but triptychon, but Yob, like good doom metal.
Seriously.
But
Seriously.
He was all about the Electric Wizard, and a lot of people have been actually. Got like a 7.9 from Pitchfork even.
Yeah.
So
they're huge.
Yeah. So I mean, different people feel different ways about it. I'm not huge on it. But give it a listen. Maybe you will be. Again, it's Electric Wizard. The album is Time to Die. It's out now on Spine Farm. So you know where to find it. Hit up the Spotifys.
Indeed.
Now let's get into some good shit. Our other two albums this week I actually really liked. First, we're going to get into a band from my hometown, a band I discussed last week in my concert review. Black Crown Initiate. Their debut full length came out on Tuesday. Again, these are Reading, Pennsylvania based, my hometown based tech death metal guys. And the album is called The Wreckage of Stars. It's out on E1 Music. What'd you think of this thing?
All right. First of all, this band automatically gets at least 3 bonus points because their beards are fantastic.
Yes.
So that helps them. I actually, I talk a lot about how I have albums I listen to that I consider like torso albums. They don't do anything bad. It's all very solid, but nothing really wows me. This album is almost kind of like the opposite of that. There are some songs on here that I just thought were awesome. Obviously, I remember which one they just recently released a music video for. I'm just drawing a blank right now.
Withering
that's
Waves.
That's it. And I love that song. I absolutely love that song. I love The Malignant. Even, This Human Lie Manifest. Shapes Collapse, I remember. The Wreckage of Stars, the title track's great. Linear is a great close to the album. I just wish it was a little bit longer. But then there are songs where I just don't care. The Fractured one didn't do a ton for me. Purge did pretty much nothing for me whatsoever. I didn't remember much about the To the Eye That Leads You, for example, but it was like the opposite. It was like the ACC football conference. The great songs are amazing, and then there's a lot of songs that probably just don't need to be there as far as I'm concerned. But they do a lot of stuff, and they do a lot of stuff really well, and I got to give them credit for it.
Yeah. I'm with you. I thought some songs were better than others. But in general, like I really liked the just consistent heaviness of it.
Yeah, that's true.
You get right off the bat, you get A Great Mistake, and that intro part, that like vaguely Middle Eastern sounding intro part is just so ominous, and it leads in so well.
Yeah.
Once the full band kicks in, I mean, Jesus, it is just brutal. It is heavy as all hell. I really like the way the clean and dirty vocals kind of offset each other. James Dorton has just one of the most powerful growl voices I've heard this year. And Andy Thomas's clean passages just are just crystal clear. They're both so immense in those roles.
Yeah.
And I think they both work really well here. I mean, like the clean vocal lines on Withering Waves, I'm with you. I think when you get the high points on this album, they're very, very high. Like the title track, I'm with you. I liked Linear at the end. Purge, I think, kind of started really solidly, ended with, once they got into that repeated chorus toward the end, not even repeated chorus. It's just, I think it's just James growling Purge over and over again. I was just like, eh. but for me the high points far outweigh the lower,
Right.
and I enjoyed the hell out of this thing. I really I've been listening to it quite a bit, and albeit in what, less than 48 hours that it's been out.
True.
But yeah, I've probably given it 3 or 4 spins in that time, and it's stuff I keep coming back to. So
Yeah, and they do so many things on it. It's what's going to take from me. I mean, just to be fair with them, it is going to take 3 or 4 spins for me. I mean, again, like I said, I give them so much credit in the world because they do so many interesting things on this album. And one of my takeaways from it was the vocal variation they use, and not even just like growls to the clean vocals. I'm talking about the different kinds of growls they use. They do everything. It's really interesting. I mean, there's different time signatures. I mean, they just do a lot of really unique stuff. It's going to take me a few more spins. It's an album I'm definitely going to go back to. Right now, it was a bit top heavy, but there wasn't a ton on it that I didn't really like. So overall, definitely above average, no question about it.
yeah. Check out these guys.
No, I was going to plus your bias, but that's fine.
Yeah, I am a little biased because, shared hometown, and we don't get a lot of good stuff coming out of Reading, Pennsylvania. In fact, I think Reading's biggest prior claim to fame, Taylor Swift, actively disowns the fact that she's from Reading. So it's good to see these guys wearing, flying the Reading, PA flag proudly and doing it well. I mean, it was a fantastic debut album.
Yeah, for sure.
Again,
we have Dio, but don't worry about it.
Again, it's Black Crown Initiate. The album is The Wreckage of Stars. It's out now on E1 Music. Check it out. And finally, we wrap up new releases this week with a new one from Decapitated. This one's called Blood Mantra. It is their 6th studio album, the Polish tech deathers' 6th album. What'd you think of this guy?
Yay, Poland. This album is all of the yes. Honestly, I freaking love this thing. This is exactly what I want. When I'm thinking about tech, brutal death metal, this is exactly what I want in a record. I freaking loved it. I mean, this was a band I hadn't really, invested a ton of time into beforehand, and they've been around. I think their 6th studio album or whatever. They've been around, and I've just never really invested a ton of listening time to them. And this is one of those rare albums when I actually spin it more than once or twice before recording. It's awesome. It makes me want to go see them in a few weeks when they come around to the East Coast. It was in your face. The riffage was incredible. The vocals were so heavy and so brutal. There was really just nothing I didn't like about it. This is one. I mean, it might creep into the top 10 this year for me, all things considered.
It's certainly up there for me as well. This thing really means business right from the get-go. It's got everything you need from a tech death record. I mean, you've got some really good riffage, just absolutely grinding, gritty powerhouse vocals from Rasta. I mean, you name it. There are times when it kind of reminds me of Behemoth. There are times when I get more of a Meshuggah vibe. Parts when it almost feels kind of thrashy. I'm thinking of the verses of Blood Mantra, the title track.
Yeah, title track, yeah.
But no matter what kind of elements you pick out, all these elements, everything it kind of pulls from is awesome. And so, I mean, naturally, this kicks ass too.
Right. I mean, the whole album just works as a whole. Like you said, you can feel a lot of different bands in there. Maybe it's just the nature of the subgenre, but it all just works so well, start to finish. It doesn't get boring. It felt like a quick listen, even though it was definitely over. I think it was almost 50 minutes, 46 minutes, or something like that.
Actually, no, it's just under 40.
Just under 40. Okay, so yes, that's why it went by freaking quick. But it did go by quick. It was very, very listenable. It was very enjoyable. I don't know. It's start to finish. It was just interesting. It really was, and that's. If
there's a takeaway from me, it's that 1, 2, 3 punch right in the middle of the album. 3 songs: Veins, Blood Mantra, and Nest. That 3-song stretch is as good as any I've heard this year. I mean, you get 3 just absolute ass kickers back to back to back.
Yeah. For what it's worth, Instinct too. I thought that was a very solid song. If you want to throw a fourth in there, so.
Well, see, Instinct I liked, but it was Instinct I thought was the only instance where the album started to feel like it was dragging a bit. A song started to feel like it was dragging a bit. Which was funny because right afterwards you get Blindness, which is longer, but flowed a lot better to me. I think it was because it kind of calmed things down. It brought in like a different kind of fury there. But yeah, no, I mean, really, I'm picking nits at this point. I really enjoyed this thing.
Sure.
I don't know if I'd call it, I don't know if I'd say it's in my top 10, but it's definitely, up there for me.
Right.
So
still 3 months to go to see how it holds up.
Yeah.
But it's from an initial listen, it's definitely highly regarded.
Absolutely. Well, again, the band is Decapitated. The album is Blood Mantra. It is out now on Nuclear Blast. You know where to find it. Hit up the Spotify's. So that'll do it for new releases. Let us, as usual, move into our old releases. Let's get into some retrospectives. Corey, what do you got for us this week?
Classic hiking tune for myself. I went with Green Carnation's Light of Day, Day of Darkness. For those unaware, Green Carnation, Norwegian band, formed in 1990, started by Chort from Emperor, the bass player, way back in the day, actually before he joined Emperor, if that's even possible. And this band has just kind of been all over the place. They really have. They've done straight black metal, straight doom metal. They've done acoustic stuff. They've done like prog rock, progressive metal. They've done everything under the sun. This particular album, or I should really say track, is a 1 hour and 6 second long song. Period. It's a song. It's a single song, single recording, and it's awesome. I'd probably put it more. It's almost like a prog doom kind of thing going on. There are some, death growls on there, the occasional blast beats, but it's really drawn out. There's one section right in the middle where it's just this crazy, like opera vocal kind of thing, and nothing, just silence surrounding it, which is just eerie as hell. It builds well. It's really hard to describe it. I'm not sure if you've actually listened to this thing. But it's an hour. You sit and listen to it for an hour, but it doesn't really feel like it. I know he wrote the song. I can't remember if it was either right after the death of his firstborn kid or right after the birth of his second, or it was completely inspired by the death of his daughter and the birth of his son, which happened right after the fact. And you can just feel the emotion. You just feel all the things he does in it. A very cynical outlook on humanity. In the world around him, and it's good music to kind of just cruise around in isolation with, and do your thing. I don't know, freaking Norway, man, they pump out so much good stuff, especially those Emperor guys.
Definitely.
2002.
Yeah. Well, I have given this one many a spin myself, and I fully endorse this retrospective decision. It's been a little longer for me than it should be. I might go back and re-listen to that sometime soon. So
yeah, I don't even know what the inspiration was for it. I just kind of it popped on shuffle or something. I was like, you know what, I do have an hour to kill. Why the hell not?
Anyway, Green Carnation, Light of Day, Day of Darkness. Good choice. For my retrospective this week, I'm going with a decidedly not metal album. I really don't care. I've been listening to a lot of it because it was just remastered on Spotify with a whole bunch of bonus content, B-sides, live demos, you name it. I'm talking, of course, about Oasis's What's the Story, Morning Glory. You're going to get on my ass about it not being metal. Lars Ulrich thinks it's metal. Well, Lars Ulrich doesn't think it's metal, but Lars Ulrich likes it. So that's enough of a justification for me. No, also Oasis is kick-ass. I don't give a shit. But yeah, this is, Britpop legends, Oasis. This is widely considered their best album. I don't think it's actually their best album. For me, it's number 2. But you've got all the standouts. You've got Wonderwall, you've got Champagne Supernova, you've got Morning Glory. Some might say you've got a ton of B-sides, which for me, Oasis is the best B-sides band out there. Oftentimes their B-sides were better than the singles. In fact, more often than not in the later days. It's for an Oasis completist like me, and yes, I have every studio album every bootleg live albums. I already have the B-sides, but it's nice to be able to access them on Spotify now. You name it. For someone like me, this was just a nice sight for sore eyes on Spotify this morning, or yesterday morning, I suppose.
Nice.
So yeah, naturally me and our buddy Kevin Brown were geeking out about it. But
None surprised. Yeah. None surprised.
But I mean, for me, this is awesome because, you know, like Oasis were probably like my first favorite band, like one of the bands I fell hardest for as a middle schooler and stuff. And I'm still total obsessive about them. So you know, and yeah, they're rip-off artists, and yeah, you know, like there are better songwriters out there, but I don't care. I just love them. I think they write absolute anthems. And there's no better proof of that than What's the Story, Morning Glory. So yeah, check it out now. It's on Spotify. Do your thing. It's a fun listen.
Yeah, man.
So
retrospectives, not just for metal. And I mean that seriously. It's not just for metal. Clearly.
Alrighty. Well, anyway, wrapping that section up, let us move into our final segment. Let's do horns up, horns down, as always. Corey, what do you got for us this week? Horns up.
Well, I gotta say, you know, obviously, as we mentioned in the beginning, life's been mostly lifical, work and the routine and whatnot, going out and whatever. But this Sunday I went on quite the adventure up in the White Mountains. I've been, you know, in this long-term goal. It's been pushing 3 or 4 years now, mostly just due to time constraints of climbing the 4,000-foot peaks in New Hampshire, which, you know, a 4,000-foot peak you can definitely, you know, get done in a day trip or whatever, but it just comes down to time. Seasonal, and you only have so many weekends in the year, and human beings do work most of the time, so it becomes tough to find this time. So Sunday I went on an ambitious little adventure with my friend Bryce, and we actually left our houses, our respective places, around 5:36 a.m. And we managed to log about 16 and a half trail miles, which ended up having about 11,000 plus feet in elevation gain, so it's a lot of up and down type shit. And, you know, we were able to take care of 3 more peaks, all of which, you know, around the 5,500 foot mark, which was just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we were dehydrated as hell. We weren't really prepared all that much. Took us all day. We hiked down this trail that, you know, we, of course, you know, looking at maps, you're like, oh, you know, we're 5,400 feet in the air. Let's just take the trail that gets us back to, you know, sea level the fastest. Naturally, that's like basically just going down a sheer cliff face with no equipment besides our backpacks. Lo and behold, we get back to a little bit of research. Not a trail advised for hiking down on. Thanks. We ended up 16 and a half hours. We ended up hiking out of the woods between 7:30 and 8 p.m. So it was pitch black at this point, because this is like, you know, this is out there in the wilderness. This is not, you know, there's no light pollution. It's dark. I mean, the moon was pretty much non-existent. It was just dark. Eventually got back to the house, to my place, you know, it was well after 10. So we're talking a solid, almost, you know, pushing 20-hour day, but huge accomplishment, because those were three peaks that were on the to-do list for quite some time, that have caused issues in the past due to, you know, caused injuries, caused, you know, exhaustion, just things haven't gone well. And everything just worked out, and, you know, I'm still kind of feeling the recovery from that now, but it was a hell of a day. It was a perfect day. Took some awesome photographs, and I just gotta tip my hat to being able to hike for a change. So that's gonna be my horns up, is this past weekend's hiking excursion. Nice way to, just get away and kind of clear your head a little bit and just burn some energy.
Absolutely.
You know? No football for a change. Yeah, I didn't watch friggin' football, and then my team ended up winning. Go figure.
You're the
God
jinx.
Damn it. Hey, I'm 3-1 in both fantasy leagues, so suck on that.
Combined. I went 0-3 this past week, so I'm a combined 2-10.
Auto draft.
I need to give up fantasy football. For my horns up, actually, I'm looking at it. This is the second week in a row in which my horns up and horns down have nothing to do with sports. This is like a I'm trying
You're
this
right.
on for size. This is a new look for me. Horns Up is going to be, with it being we're into October now. Fall TV season is underway, and one of my favorite shows from last year came back with its second season premiere on Sunday. I'm talking about Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which no, I don't just like it because I'm from Brooklyn. It's filmed on a soundstage out in LA anyway, and we all know this. But no, I thought this was one of the more appealing shows for me that debuted last year. Really because of the cast. I really love the way the cast works together. Obviously, you have Andy Samberg and Andre Brower as like the top build
Yep.
roles, but everyone on down from Melissa Fumero to Joe Latrulio, Chelsea Peretti, Terry Crews is amazing in this show. I mean,
Terry Crews is the
he's
best.
so funny. You get what's her name, Stephanie Beatriz, playing
Sure.
playing the the core cop team. It was fantastic. I absolutely fell for this show last year, and it came back with a total bang on Sunday. Did you end up catching this episode?
I haven't yet. I actually made a point to watch it, and then due to early bedtimes and anticipated the last couple of days, I haven't gotten around to it. But this is a show I absolutely fell in love with the first season, and that's kind of rare for me to really get into, especially sitcoms. Usually sitcoms for me, I'll just like catch them when they're on, and that's pretty much that. But this is a show that I think is just absolutely hilarious. The characters are just so well played, so well portrayed. Every personality works perfectly with every other personality. It's a great show. So I'm pumped to see
just
it.
It's like the fact, like I can't even describe like how well this cast works together, because it's well enough that even if it's like a lackluster episode story wise, I'll still enjoy it because they have such great chemistry as a team.
Exactly.
And fortunately, this Sunday's episode was not a lackluster episode. This was they were firing on all cylinders. I laughed. I was watching it on the elliptical machine at the gym. I had it on Hulu Plus on my tablet, and I laughed out loud a couple of times, scared the shit out of people that were next to me on other elliptical machines. It was just I couldn't control myself. It was goddamn hilarious. So I'm so glad it's back.
Awesome.
I really am. So yeah, Brooklyn Nine-Nine season 2. It's on Sunday nights on Fox. I don't actually know what time slot it's in because I never catch them live anyway. I always watch them on Hulu.
Yeah, we do the whole Apple TV thing, so nothing we watch is live anyway. So
exactly.
It's all good.
But yeah, check it out. It's definitely worth your time. But at any rate, now horns down. What's been pissing you off this week? What's been grinding your gears?
I'm gonna hold something up that our viewers or our listeners won't be able to see. It's a purchase I made that I'm just gonna feel the judgment rain down on me, but it's because of my pride in my album.
A PBR tall boy,
and because of gift card.
Nope.
Album collections. I have pride in PBR, Dan. I have pride in PBR. This I don't have pride in. I'm gonna hold up an album that I picked up because free and because discography, and it is In Flames Siren Charms. Now I know we talked about how we don't necessarily hate every aspect of every song, just most of the album as a whole. Here's the problem I have, and I have to bring this back up one more time. And the issue is, every single song on this album, besides the title track, is mixed at such a low volume, you literally have to turn whatever your speaker is up to pretty much 90 to hear it at a remotely tolerable level. It's that bad.
That's actually probably a welcome change compared to a lot of the shit you hear. You hear like loudness war. Half the time, like I have to turn my speakers down just to be able to hear it without crackling and shit in my ear.
I mean, that's fair, but it's just, it's just one of those, but I guess the main issue is then you get to the title track and it's like 10 times louder. It just makes no sense. It makes no sense. And it's really fucking annoying. I mean, thank God for free and thank God for Bull Moose because no real investment there. But it's just like, guys, not only do you put on a mediocre album on your major label, they can't even fucking do it right. They can't even mix a mediocre album right. on a major label. They've issued. What's
that?
that?
No. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, they've issued statements on Facebook saying, they're gonna rectify and they're gonna whatever. At this point, I'm just kind of like, I don't really care. I mean, I'm not gonna listen to this album probably more than like 3 or 4 more times in my life anyway. So whatever. But it's just like, guys, come on.
I did like that title track though. That's one of the things I didn't totally hate about the album was that like intro bass line that they have.
Right. No, it's actually really cool. I mean, the title track is, again, as we've talked about so many times with this band, you have to take blah, blah, blah songs as they are and not think about it as an In Flames song. And yeah, the title track is kind of cool from like a not really metal perspective. In Plain View is pretty cool. Paralyzed is fine. It's not all bad. It really isn't. So I guess if one of the songs is actually mixed and at the appropriate volume, I guess it's not a bad thing as a title track if it has to be any of them. I mean, God forbid, like, I don't know, Dead Eyes or With Eyes Wide Open is, mixed appropriately.
With eyes wide open.
Creed reference.
That actually wasn't a bad Scott Stapp, if I say so myself.
Exactly, and that's just a tribute to how bad Scott Stapp actually is. Yes, sir.
Oh boy.
Oh god.
We need to cut this thing off when I start doing Scott Stapp sounds.
No, that's when we push forward. That's when we continue.
Yeah.
So I had to use my horns down for one last rag on this album, just because the irony in it. Move to a major label and have all the CDs be fucked up. Way to go, guys! You're doing it wrong.
It kind of reminds me of when I don't know if it was mixing or if it was just the production in general, but Nevermore had that happen. With Enemies of Reality, they had to completely reissue it a few years after the fact because the original mix was so horrible. And then they brought in Andy Sneap and he fixed it up because Andy Sneap, and sounds a lot better now. So yeah,
sweet.
Maybe In Flames will do that.
Gotta take it.
But yeah, oh well, shitty sound quality. That's a good horns down to have, I'll say.
Yeah,
For me, I will say my horns down this week is going to be logistics of moving. And I don't think that this is a moving in general thing. I'm going to say this is logistics of moving within New York City. So I told my roommates yesterday that I am going to be looking to move to a new apartment. I've been in this place 2.5 years. I'm just sort of ready for something new. And looking to move by November 1st. Yeah.
Damn.
So it's coming up. Now, the way apartment hunting works here in New York City, you basically fill apartments are filled either 1st of the month or 15th of the month. And you really can't start looking until about 2 weeks before your proposed move-in date. So I had to give my roommates 30 days notice, meaning yesterday. And yet I'm not going to even be able to start looking for places. Landlords are not going to be even filling places that are going to be available for November 1st until about 2 weeks into that 30-day period. So yeah, it's going to be tight. It's going to be a tricky little turnaround, but, I don't know why it is that way. And never mind, this is all to say nothing of the fact that New York is like the one city in the country where tenants pay the broker fee rather than landlords. What the hell is that shit?
That makes no sense. I'm sorry, that makes absolutely no sense.
But we are probably going to go with a broker. Luckily I have a coworker who just moved to an area that we're looking at and knows a couple of good brokers up that way that specialize in that area. I'm looking at Hamilton Heights, which is like up in Harlem area. And so hopefully we'll be able to sort it out. I know the guys and I are going to take some time off and just look for places and see how it goes. But we'll see. For now, though, horns down is logistics of moving. Just because it's stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, the thing is, like, moving, it's a double-edged sword. Moving is such, I always have been obsessed with the concept of being moved. But I lose sleep, and I just try to avoid the actual moving day as long as humanly possible. It sucks. It really does. Obviously, it's one thing here where it takes me a whopping day, and I'm pretty much done with what I need to do. It's another thing entirely in New York City. So I can't argue that. But it's. And I've always enjoyed the move just because, again, like you said, it's something new, and once you're still in a new space, it's pretty much it's a pretty cool high you can ride for a few weeks. It's definitely needed from time to time. So. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, that will do it for episode 23. I am not going to remind y'all to keep an eye out for our new podcast feed because, frankly, with the move, that's getting put on hold. I got to focus on other things. I am, however, going to remind you, as always, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. We are facebook.com/hornsuppodcast, Twitter @hornsuppodcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes, subscribe on Stitcher, Podbean for now. We're on YouTube. You know what to do. Spread the word, tell your friends. We'll give you swag next time we see you. And by swag, I mean Horns Up business cards. But yeah, spread the word. Really appreciate any I guess passing along that you guys can do and do because building word of mouth is important. But yeah, that'll do it for episode 23. Thank you guys as always for stopping by. Corey, it's been fun.
Yeah. Like usual.
As always. So yeah, with that, we say live,
love,
plow,
horns up.
We'll see you next week.